2010 started off with a bang, with a number of hit games in a part of the year usually ignored by publishers. But while these games and their developers were doing great, the developer behind the previous year's smash hit, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, was falling apart. After Activision CEO Bobby Kotick suddenly fired Infinity Ward founders Jason West and Vince Zampella for insubordination, nearly a third of the studio left. The exodus was one of the most prominent in recent memory. But 2010 was only just getting underway, and as it happened, the summer months would bring their own shakeups to the established gaming order. And in the meantime, the games themselves would bring both triumphs and tragedies to what is normally considered the doldrums of gaming. On May 12th, developer and digital publisher Valve made official what they'd been teasing for months. Their service platform, Steam, came to the Mac. After a clever ad campaign riffing on famous Apple ads with Valve characters, the service debuted with a slew of games, including the company's own Portal. The release is considered a major boost to the Macintosh's gaming market, which has traditionally struggled against the Windows market. But however creative their ad campaign was, it was nowhere near as pervasive as Rockstar Games' latest release. After assaulting nearly every billboard, bus, and poster in existence, on May 18th, John Marston and his double-barreled shotgun finally arrived on consoles in Red Dead Redemption. Developed by Rockstar San Diego, the game was a sweeping yet intimate Wild West epic following our hero in his quest to take down an old friend to save his family. While the summer months are big for movies, they're generally considered the slow season for gaming. Red Dead Redemption bullseyed that notion out of the sky with blockbuster sales. As if Rockstar needed any further proof that they were one of the titans of gaming, Red Dead did it. Meanwhile, Nintendo did what it did best and released a Mario game. Another one. May 28th was supposed to be a huge day for entertainment in general as the first high-budget, high-profile video game movie released. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time had the Hollywood muscle of super producer Jerry Bruckheimer behind it, not to mention the name of one of the classics of modern gaming. Sadly, the film itself released to tepid reviews as the unfocused narrative drove away those who didn't know the game. Those who did know the game were driven away by the fact that the film was basically unrelated to it. The movie was a flop and, sadly, may scare cautious Hollywood executives away from other game adaptations. For that matter, even Ubisoft Montreal's new Prince of Persia game, The Forgotten Sands, was quickly, well, forgotten. An icon for the last 2 decades, as of 2010, the future doesn't look too good for the prince. The original Sands of Time was created by Patrice Désilets, who went on to create the Assassin's Creed franchise. As far as anyone knew, that June he was happily at work on the next game in the series, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. But on the 13th, Désilets left Ubisoft Montreal for no publicly stated reason. Months later, he announced that he was going to head up rival THQ's new Montreal studio, but that this was a personal choice and in no way reflected on Ubisoft. In fact, in the same announcement, he urged players to buy the new Assassin's Creed. In deference to his old friends, and because he'd signed a 1-year non-compete clause, he will not be working on a game until summer 2011. We can't wait, Patrice. So after the departure of Infinity Ward's leads came the departure of Ubisoft Montreal's top creative mind. And 2010 wasn't finished booting people yet, as that same month, LucasArts felt a great disturbance in the force. President Daryl Rodriguez resigned following in the footsteps of several other top LucasArts staff, including longtime Star Wars master Hayden Blackman. After this last loss, LucasArts brought in Paul Meegan. Hopefully that would be the end of it, right? Instead, Meegan began swinging the band hammer with abandon. The Force Unleashed 3 was almost immediately canceled, and soon after, reports of massive layoffs surfaced. While LucasArts itself had remained silent, it is widely believed that Meegan is restructuring the company. What he will do with it remains to be seen, though it's already rumored that Meegan is forbidding anybody but LucasArts to ever work on Star Wars again. Except, of course, for BioWare. So June had been pretty depressing up to this point. Fortunately, E3 swooped in to lift gamers' spirits. It showcased a ton of upcoming games and the big motion controls from Sony and Microsoft. The Big M also took this time to rename their controller from Project Natal to Kinect. It also brought with it a bombshell. Microsoft gave an entire press conference with an Xbox 360, only to end by removing the empty box to reveal a new, slim Xbox available in stores that week. On the 17th, the new service OnLive went live online. OnLive claimed that it would replace consoles by allowing gamers to play high-end games on low-end computers. The company would handle all the graphics processing on their end and then stream the results to gamers. Sadly, though predictably, the service has suffered from both lag and low resolutions, and thus far doesn't have any consoles fearing for their lives. Speaking of fearing for its life, on June 29th, the long-delayed MMO APB released. Made by veterans of the Grand Theft Auto franchise, APB was supposed to bring that underworld vibe into the online space. But reviews were not great. There'd be more news from them later in the year. Meanwhile, the company behind the biggest MMO of them all had an announcement. On July 6th, Blizzard Entertainment stated that they would soon implement the Real ID system. Real ID would feature the player's actual name, making it easier to find friends across different Blizzard games. Oh, and it would also give your real name on all forum posts. In theory, this would make forum posts more civil. In reality, it sparked the single biggest gamer backlash of the year, a withering assault on a company usually adored by its fans. The reaction was so negative that only 3 days later, Blizzard retreated. Real ID would still work in-game, but would not be used on the fora. Fortunately, on the 27th of that month, Blizzard won back its good name with a sequel fans have been clamoring for 12 years. StarCraft II sold 3 million units in a month, proving that yes, Blizzard could actually release a game that didn't have Warcraft in the title, even though they hadn't for 10 years. On the console side of things, the Wii crossed another major milestone, selling 30 million units since its launch. That's a lot, but not as much as 140 million, the total number of PlayStation 2s sold. At the same time, Microsoft announced that it was raising the price of Xbox Live subscriptions. They claim that since the service was exponentially larger now than when it began, it cost a lot more to maintain. That same month, Irrational Games, the masterminds behind the original BioShock, unveiled their new project, BioShock Infinite. Leaving the sea to play amongst the clouds, BioShock Infinite will feature a super-powered hero, a philosophically extreme villain, and a city in an unusual environment. Yep, it's another BioShock. But for all that turmoil, 2010 hadn't even hit the busy season yet. Tune in next time to see gaming get busy.